Farmer Curtis Stone went from celebrating $100 restaurant orders to processing $1,500 from distributors. But that one customer that brought in $1,000 weekly once disappeared overnight. Management change, chef change, menu change, customer and revenue gone. This isn't just a farming story, it's about how any small business thinks about scaling. Bigger orders mean bigger risks, and you need systems to survive both.
It sounds like it can be pretty lucrative to do that.
It is no doubt that it can, but it's also very risky. Like a friend of mine has an old saying, the higher the stakes, the greater the takes. Things that are high yielding are often high risk. Anybody who understands economics knows that too.
Thanks for watching the video today. I'm Diego, Diego, and today we're breaking down a distributor strategy that once accounted for 20 to 30% of urban farmer Curtis Stone's total revenue. In this video, you're going to learn the opportunity, the risks, and most importantly, the framework to decide if distributors are right for your business. Whether you're selling produce, products, or services, this one should help you out. Let's get into it. It all starts with scale. Curtis's typical restaurant orders were exciting at first.
$100 order from a restaurant was really getting me stoked. Like, yeah, I got 5 $100 orders. This is awesome. That was good. Like, I was happy with that.
But distributors changed the game entirely.
The volume is so different. Like, these orders are $1,500 at a time kind of thing, but there's less variety.
That's a 15x increase per transaction. Here's what that means practically.
I sell to these two distributors. One of them is a distributor who just sells general produce to like grocery stores, high-end restaurants in the Rocky Mountains. Sometimes I'm packing him 100 units of spinach, like I would take to a farmer's market or something like that. So I don't send him the fresh sheet. He gets his own fresh sheet, basically. I don't send it in MailChimp. It happens through email. It's kind of just like, what can you do for me next week? It's like, okay, I'm going to have this, and I'll have a lot of this, not so much of that, so on and so forth.
The best part of all of this? Predictability.
Easy for me because it makes it simple for me to plan my farm because I know I guaranteed to sell X amount of this product per week without having to market it, without having to list it in my fresh sheets or anything like that. I know that he and she will buy these things week in and week out.
Surprisingly, Curtis didn't chase distributors.
Yeah, they contacted me.
This reveals a key business principle. When you build a reputation for reliability in your market, bigger players notice. Focus on excellence at your current level, and the next level often comes to you. Not everything works for distributors. Here's a framework that Curtis discovered. High turnover, flexible margin products, that worked. Long season, high labor products, that didn't work.
I can sell him greens. I can sell him baby root vegetables. I can sell him microgreens because his price works.
Why greens work?
With greens, I have more wiggle room because I can produce so much in a small amount of space and they have a high turnover. A customer who's willing to buy 50 pounds a week, there's more wiggle room on the price point. I can't sell him tomatoes because he can't give me a price that works for me. So I sell tomatoes to restaurants.
Why tomatoes don't?
The tomato requires a lot of preliminary work to get to that end result of a product. I got to start that plant in February. I'm going to get potted up once or twice. It's going to get transplanted. It's going to get pruned every week for an hour or two each week, our whole tomato crop. There's a lot of work that goes into those.
The principle is simple. If you can scale it quickly with minimal labor, it's distributor friendly. If it requires months of investment, keep it for premium buyers. Curtis's negotiation wisdom is simple, but often ignored.
They throw us some numbers and then you just write them off. Oh no, he can't meet me on my price. But it's like, no, you got to go back and forth. You can't just have a broad conversation about a general price or percentage and say, let's meet there.
Instead, negotiate product by product.
You got to communicate, try to work with that person and try to see, okay, where's the price point on each item?
For high volume items, flexibility pays off.
Things like microgreens and greens, especially microgreens, I can scale up quickly. It's a 14-day cycle. So if somebody wants to commit to a lot, there's a lot of wiggle room in price if they're willing to move a lot of volume for me.
Here's where it gets serious. Business finance experts warn no single customer should exceed 30% of your revenue. That's dangerous, and Curtis learned this the hard way.
I've been burned that way for sure. Like my second year of farming, I took on this one restaurant that was ordering like 10 times more than everybody else was. Like their orders were about $1,000 a week. And that was crazy for me.
The intoxication of scale.
And then all of a sudden to have a customer that comes on that's like, we want 50 pounds of greens, we want 30 pounds of beef, 20 pounds of kids. Like, holy shit. So you're just trying to catch up to that.
Then disaster.
I had that customer for a couple of years and then boom, management change, chef change, menu change, nothing. And then you're like, wow, what happened there?
Studies show businesses overexposed to a single client double the risk of failure if that client leaves. Curtis had to adapt his philosophy.
I've been really burned that way. Sometimes you just get a customer that's just huge and buying a lot of stuff and you kind of just ride it out and look at it as in like, okay, this is just gravy right now. You kind of have to have the attitude that you expect the worst, you plan for the worst, and you just hope for the best.
Not all distributors operate equally.
I've sold to a few different distributors, actually. I've also sold to grocery stores and just like generic retail outlets. It just depends on how well greased of a machine they're operating, really.
Some evolve.
Some customers that I've worked with for many years, when they started, it was really erratic, but now they've built their business just like mine and they get to a point where they're just a lot more consistent.
Others never stabilize.
I've definitely had some distributor and retail customers that were just a horror story to work with because there's just no consistency and not necessarily always on a fault of their own because they're also at the whim of their customers as well.
Curtis's safeguard system is multi-layered.
The majority of my business is restaurants, but I'm also very diversified in my customer base there. Restaurants definitely come and go, but it's super improbable that all of them are going to go at once. So I have 3 different market outlets being distributors, restaurants, and farmers markets.
Even within categories, he diversifies.
Even within that restaurant customer, which is absolutely the largest demographic in my market stream, it's still very diversified. There's many different types of restaurants there, different sizes, and there's a lot of them, probably almost 20 different restaurants that we're selling to in there.
His backup plan is always active.
I'm at the point now where I've got pretty established relationships with my steady customers that are big customers that I'm pretty safeguarded in the sense that if one of them were to leave, I immediately know other places that I can move that product because I'm in a position where I've got so much demand because people want to work with our farm. They like what we're about. They like the service that we offer. Like we really focus on customer service that there's a lot of people waiting to get our product.
Here's your distributor strategy in 3 phases. Phase 1, overflow. Start with excess capacity. Don't plant for distributors until the relationship proves stable. Use them as your overflow valve for surplus produce that you can't sell through your other market streams. Phase 2, negotiate.
You got to go back and forth. You got to communicate.
Test different products to see where margins align. Remember, negotiate per product, not per contract. Phase 3, diversify. Keep other channels active. Curtis maintained his farmers markets at just 10% of his sales, not for the revenue, but for the flexibility if a distributor relationship ever failed. Curtis's warning for new businesses.
You got to be careful. I mean, I don't recommend anybody that's just in their first or maybe even second year of farming, unless they're really confident, get into doing these kinds of businesses.
Why experience matters.
They'll often require a considerable amount of volume. So you have to be careful on your end that you don't burn them, that you say you can provide X amount of product and then you're only showing up with half of what you said you could.
The relationship cost.
You have to be very careful about taking on those kind of commitments because you can burn a bridge pretty quick if you're shorting somebody consistently and you're causing them a lot of grievance. That customer can disappear pretty quick.
Curtis Stone's distributor journey reveals a universal business truth. Scale brings both opportunity and vulnerability. The numbers tell the story.
There's no doubt that restaurants and distributors take up about 90% of what my farm does.
But remember this wisdom.
The higher the stakes, the greater the takes. Things that are high yielding are often high risk. Anybody who understands economics knows that too.
If you want to make some change, here's your action framework to start today. Overflow, negotiate, diversify. Start with products you already have excess of. Negotiate product by product, not blanket percentages, and never let any customer exceed more than 30% of your business to limit your risk. Whether you're selling produce, products, or services, the principle remains. Concentration creates vulnerability, but properly managed, distributors can transform small businesses into a thriving operation. The key isn't avoiding risk, it's managing it intelligently. Thanks for watching this version of the Urban Farmer Rewind. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to watch the full episode, be sure to check out season 1, week 24 of the Urban Farmer right here on this YouTube channel. Let me know what you thought about this episode in the comments below, and I thank you for watching if you've made it this far into the video. As always, be nice, be thankful, and do the work.